Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment. I'm Lenora.
Indeed.
We're coming to you today in regards to everything entertainment.
Yes.
And so today I am going to go ahead and start. And so we are going to start with something that I was watching on Hulu as a movie, and it's called Rental Family. Have you watched that?
I have watched it. It's on my list to talk about it, but I've already watched it, and it was
talk about it at some point. Oh, that's too funny that you watched it too.
Yeah, it
okay,
was
so I
good.
really enjoyed it. It was a really cute movie. So it has Brendan Fraser in it. So he plays Philip, an American actor who moved to, where is it? Is it China? I think it's China, right? In
Japan.
Asia?
Is it Japan?
Japan. Yep, it's in Japan. Yep. And then you have where he has a boss whose name is Shinji, and he is played by Takiro Hira. You have some other like people that he's involved with and co-workers. So you have a lot of different actors that I don't think most Americans know. But I'll say a couple of names because I'm going to butcher them regardless. You have I know Aok, who is Mari Yamamoto. You have Mia, who is Shannon Gorman. You have Kiku, who is Akira Imoto. And so I'll give some of the story just because if you aren't familiar with the people, then you won't even know why I'm mentioning any of these names. So the way that it works is Brendan Fraser is, like I said, an American actor. So he goes over to Japan. And because of the fact that there's so few white people in general in Japan, he is somebody who is like a talent who can go around from place to place. And like, how you'll have where they do the commercials, right? And it'll be commercials where there's this white actor who's speaking in Japanese and saying something to sell something. All I could think of was like David Hasselhoff and how he used to always be like, he was probably bigger over in other countries than he was in America after Baywatch because of the fact that he was always on these commercials, and he was in like Japan and China and Germany and all these places like doing commercials. So anyway, that's Brendan Fraser's role. So he ends up getting a call from his agent and saying, "Hey, we want you to go to this particular event." And he's like, "Okay, no problem. I'm getting paid to show up." And they said, he said, "What is my role going to be?" And they just said, "Sad American." And he was like, got it. Sad American. Fine. And he's like, starving artist anyway. So I don't think it was that hard of a stretch for him to play a sad American.
Yeah.
And so he shows up and he's quiet. They said, put on a suit. So he's in a suit. He shows up. It's a funeral. So he's like, oh my gosh. So he's tiptoeing in because he's late. He sits down. He's watching this funeral, and this woman's up there just bawling her eyes out about how much she's going to miss this guy in the casket. And all of a sudden, the guy in the casket sits up and turns and looks at her as he's crying. And then he lays back down. And Brendan Fraser, of course, gasps. He's like, oh my God, the guy's not dead. Like, what is going on? Like, what did I get myself into? And so what he then found out was that this person had paid this agency to have people there so he could have his funeral while he was alive and know how much he was appreciated and loved. And it helped him to kind of, be like, yes, I can go on because of the fact that I know that there are people out here who care about me, even though they're actors, I guess. I don't know. But the woman who was up there bawling was an actress. It wasn't even a real person that he knew. So then they said, hey, we always need white males to do things like that. This guy's request was to have a white male at his funeral.
Yeah.
You fit that bill. So therefore, what else can we maybe assign you to so that way you can have work? So he decides he's going to take, some jobs. And so one of the jobs that he took was for him to pretend to be the father of a young girl. So the mother reached out to the agency, wanted a white American man, because I guess that's who she, was the father of the child, and to have him pretend to be that person so that way his daughter could feel like, her daughter could feel like she was whole, like I know who my dad.
So she can get into a school too. So she can get into that.
Yes. Oh yeah. And so that she could get into a school, because you needed both the mother and father to help do the interview for the school. And then the little girl had to do certain tasks too. Like she had to be interviewed as well in order to get into the school. And so based on that, he was like, okay, I'll take on this role. And he didn't have kids or anything like that. But it goes down this interesting path of him, pretending to be a father, which I thought was kind of strange too, because he's pretending to be the father of this girl, but yet the mother is letting him take her on to the zoo or whatever. And I'm like, so you're literally letting a stranger that isn't her father take her to go do certain things. Like, I guess you're assuming now maybe things are different in China and you're not worried about people being pedophiles and everything else, but I would just be like, that's kind of weird to me to let my 10, 11-year-old daughter just go off with some strange man that I just met that I'm pretending is her father. That's not. So it's really a stranger. And
but then also my thing is like, you're messing up your child's head, because now your child thinks that this random white guy is her father, and it's not.
Right. Like, what are you exactly doing? And if she finds that out, then what? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's tough.
Instead of just, I feel like then should have just had him for the interview, and that's it. You don't need to be here for anything else.
Yeah, just tell the daughter, like, this is what we're going to do. But I think in her mind, she was like, I don't want to let my daughter feel like lying to get her into the school is appropriate. So let me lie to her without her knowing that I'm lying to her to get her into the school by having this guy pretend to be her father. And then he can just say, oh, I got to go back to America. So sorry. And then he's out of her life again. You know what I mean? Like, she'll be hurt, but it won't. Right. So anyway, but yeah, so long story short, you have that storyline, but then you also have a storyline of Philip being with an older Asian gentleman who has the desire to go back home. So he's in a certain part of Asia and he wants to go back home to like this very remote, rural part of Asia that's hard to get to. A lot of climbing, a lot of stairs, a lot of brush and all that kind of stuff for him to get where he wants to go. But he has some mementos and some memories and some things that he wants to get out of this abandoned home, basically, that is there. And so if Philip takes him, then he's basically, because his daughter doesn't want him to go because she knows it's too much of a risk, right? It's like he's trying to do it behind his daughter's back, basically. Yeah. So it's like, it's too much. So based on that, it's like, do you help this older gentleman be able to fulfill his lifelong wish when you know he's already at the end of his life or towards it? Yeah. Or do you not and know that, his wish will never be fulfilled? And so Philip just has a choice to make. And part of that choice has to deal with his own relationship with his own father and how he handled that. So it's cute. So it's basically just about an agency that rents people out. And then you either are a family member, you're a friend to the person, or you are, they had the part that was the like, I'm sorry, person, right? So you would have where, say the man, this is how it typically worked, the man was having an affair. So the man's having an affair, the wife finds out. So he instead of bringing his actual mistress in front of his wife to be confronted, you would bring this rental mistress in front of your wife to be confronted. And the wife would go off on the rental. The rental won't take it personally because I'm getting paid to do this. And then they leave and the man will probably still continue with his affair because he never even had the real woman there in the first place. The wife feels as though she put this woman in place and I guess supposedly all is well. However, there was an incident that happened where when that confrontation was going on, the wife slapped the rental mistress. And that woman was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Like this isn't a cool thing for us to be doing in the first place, is putting people in a situation where if we're helping people and supporting people and doing something that doesn't hurt anybody, fine. But we're basically now lying. And if we're going to be lying to somebody, then I don't think we should be in that business. And plus she charged them more money because she got slapped. Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. And I will say that I recall Gary Vee, for anybody who's familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, he was saying that he thinks that because of so much technology that's out here and so many people with gaming and, just technology, AI, like all of that stuff, phones and COVID and people didn't get outside and all of that he feels as though in the future, what's going to happen is there's going to be people. And it just like how you call an Uber and it picks you up and takes you to your destination, you'll be able to go to an app and say, hey, I want somebody to just walk through the park with me and talk to me. And then you just pay a person. They come, they meet you at a certain location, doesn't even need to be at your house, and they just walk and talk with you. And now you have a companion for a moment. Oh, I don't want to go eat dinner by myself. I'm in a strange city. I'm here for work. I'm going to go ahead and see if somebody is willing to come. I'll pay for their dinner and give them money, and we go get something to eat. And that's my companion for the day. And I don't have to be there by myself. So he thinks that that's going to be an ongoing trend of people wanting to have paid for companionship. Yeah. I can't say that I don't see it in the future. Like I could so see that somebody, especially somebody who is socially awkward, somebody who is on the spectrum, or somebody who has social anxiety or any of those types of things. I could see where somebody could say, look, just come with me. Like, even if it's hold my hand so that I feel as though I am more confident going into X situation. Like they even do on some of these movies, pretend you're my fiance so that way people won't keep harassing me about when am I going to get married, those types of things. So I don't know. I can see that it could definitely be a business. I wish I had the money to put it together, because I would so be able to pick out some good people. As much as I used to interview in HR, I'd be able to pick out some great people and connect them with each other and be like, okay, you're over there, kind of thing. So
I know that they have cuddle rooms.
Yeah,
and where you can pay for somebody to go on a date with you. Nothing sexual, but just actually like a date. Yeah. So it's like things like that. And like the cuddle rooms is literally you come in, you lay down, somebody cuddles with you, and you just vent or you just talk about your day. And then your time's up and then you leave. So it's like physical and mental therapy.
There you go. Yep. It's like I will just hold you and embrace you, and you say whatever you have to say. And you're even potentially facing in a different direction. So it's not even like you have to, interact, engage or whatever. And then, all right, I'm on my merry way. You're welcome. That'll be $300.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Whatever it is. I don't know how much it is, but yeah. So, all right. But that's what I have. So it's Rental Family. It's on Hulu. All right. So what you got, sis?
So I'm going to keep with the Hulu. I have Love Story, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette.
I haven't watched that, but I have heard about it.
So I am all the way up to like the second to the last episode. So let me just tell you, I love Ryan Murphy. He is to drama and dramatizations what Adam Sandler is to me with comedy.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Love them. So this is a complicated love story that happened with JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. It talks about basically how they met, how they started dating, the stuff that he was going through, stuff that she was going through, and then the stressful life that they ended up living once they did get married. But yeah, it's a lot of things that happened before their demise. So John was trying to grow up as regular as possible because he is a JFK Jr. He is a political American royalty. So they said that he would be playing football in the park. He would be riding his bike all through the city, like weaving in and out of taxi cabs, you know. He was just like a regular New Yorker, never made it to where he was celebrity status. He didn't have security. He didn't have all this other stuff. He didn't have like a fancy car. He drove a Saab. Like that was it.
And that was intentional on his part, right? Because he wanted, like, so when people would see him in New York, they'd just be like, "Oh, that's JFK again, like Junior again."
Yeah. Like, he just wanted to be as normal and regular as possible. He didn't. Yeah. The thing that he kept saying that they kept saying throughout the show was that he never knew his father. He was like, there is that picture or the video of me saluting my father as his casket's going down the street. He was like, but I don't remember my father. I don't know him. I was just a baby. I was like so tiny. I think he was like 3 years old.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he just basically talks about that. He talks about how he feels like he lost 2 parents at once. When his father passed away, he was a little boy, and he said he remembers him and his sister being with the nanny. But then he was like, but mom is away and she's in a dark room and she's crying and she's never wanted to be around us. And so he was like, so I lost my mother and my father all in the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So he
saw a lot that day, though. That's
yeah. But he didn't know that as a child. Yeah. He didn't know that as a child. He was like, why won't she just play with me? Like, I don't understand. Why won't she just play with me? But so with this whole thing, it's basically JFK Jr. getting like right up to 40, where it's like his mother's like, you need to go ahead and find you someone to be with her crazy voice.
Did she talk like that?
Yeah, that's how they got. It was like I can't even explain it. She sounded. Yeah, it
sounds
was
like Audrey. I mean, not Audrey Hepburn, Katharine Hepburn. Just now, the way
it's like a Katharine Hepburn without the with it. Yeah, like without the Elmer Fudd, the Katharine Hepburn. That's how Jackie O talked. But now that he's getting into his 40s, his mother's saying, "Hey, you need to go ahead, find somebody to settle down with. Like, I don't care who it is, but it got to be somebody who's good for you, and it's going to be good as a good partner to you, but also knows the rules that we have as a family. Someone who also will not outshine you and will not make you feel like you are on a pedestal. Somebody to keep you kind of like
level-headed.
Grounded. Yeah, level-headed, grounded. Okay. Somebody's going to be like, yeah, but, just because your dad was president doesn't mean I'm going to do this. That kind of thing.
Right.
And it gets complicated for him because throughout his relationship, so it was like Brooke Shields, he ended up like kissing or something like that. Madonna, he ends up dating. Who else was it? Daryl Hannah is all through the show.
Yeah,
Daryl Hannah is all through it because I didn't know that they were on again, off again.
Yeah. And so she was saying she had something to say about that too recently.
Oh, really?
Like,
okay.
So being depicted in there. I don't know if she knew she was going to be depicted in it, but she was like, I guess it opens old wounds and different stuff like that when you see your story and you may not know that this is coming out or happening.
Well, then also, this is not a documentary. This is a dramatization. This is what Ryan Murphy and his writing crew thought that could have possibly happened. Something to make it like a soap opera, but then also a good and educational thing as well. It's entertainment. It's educational with all of the stuff about the family and how the family went about. It even goes into the shooting of JFK and then talks about documentaries that they want to do. So it's like the actual stuff that you get to know from the New York Post, the New York Times, and everything about the family, things all over the world about the family, but then also putting in some dramatization to make it, sell. That's basically it.
Make it interesting, yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is that he had this on again, off again thing with Daryl Hannah, and his mother was like, yeah, no, nah. That's not the one. And then it was like, okay, we're going to have dinner with my mom. So come on, my sister's going to be there. Her husband, Ed, we're all going to be there. She didn't even come out the room. Jackie L was like, I feel famished. I'm just not going to come out. Yeah, she was just like, this is not the one for you, son. And then you bring her to my house? How dare you sit her at my table? I already told you I don't like this girl. Don't bring her to my house. Basically. So they're on again, off again.
Well, and that has to be tough too. I'm sorry. That has to be tough too if you think about it, because, okay, I'm Daryl Hannah. Ain't nobody outside the family know anything about that but me. And maybe a few people in New York that she hated me this much. And now that news is out there that like, oh, now the whole world can know how she felt about me. Like that may make somebody feel some kind of way, because it could be very true. It might not be the dramatization part for that. And now everybody knows something that you just thought was a private thing that maybe 15 people knew. And one of the 15 told Ryan Murphy.
Yeah. Well, then also there is a part where she is in her and JFK have an apartment. I don't know if they're living together, or if she's just living there while she's not filming, because she's supposed to live in California. So I guess the two ways that she lives back and forth, I don't know how they do it. But he goes to an event, he comes home, he's tired, and she has friends over. So now they are doing like cocaine on like some memorative, I guess like a dish or something like that I think is like a family heirloom.
A dish of his dad.
Yeah. And he's just like, can you not do that? And picks it up and puts stuff down. And she's like, oh, is this because it's like your family stuff? He was like, because it's out of respect. Like coming to my house, get the music blasting, people over here doing drugs, drinking. He was like, but then it's like, I don't know them and I don't want to know them. She was like, well, you never tried to get to. He was like, because they're doing drugs on my table. Like they're on my stuff. Like I don't want to know these people. So that could also be why she would be so upset about the way she was depicted in the movie or the TV show. So come to find out, Calvin Klein actually introduced Carolyn Bessette and JFK Jr. Carolyn Bessette actually worked for Calvin Klein, and I think she was like on the lower part of the totem pole. And then when he saw what she did for Annette, what's her name? What is it? The lady's name?
Annette Bening?
Annette Bening, yes.
Okay, I was going to say the actress. Okay.
Yeah. So she ends up, Calvin Klein picks out some stuff because they have a cameo of a Annette Bening type person. And Annette Bening is there. She's like, okay, well, what am I going to wear to this award show? And how Calvin Klein actually had his place set up was like, there's 4 dresses that are out here on this wall. They're going to be lights shining on them. And these are the dresses that I want this person to see. And then have the shoes here and the purses here. And that's how he wanted it. But it was just like an office. You come in, people are working everywhere. And then you go into a room and this is where we size you and make sure everything fits you. But these are the things that we have for you. But while she's there, Annette Bening is looking at herself. She was like, I don't know. Like, and she turns to Carolyn Bessette. She says, do you think I can do better? And Carolyn was like, yeah, I do, actually. And then she actually puts together this whole outfit for Annette Bening, and Annette loves it. And then from there, Calvin Klein sees Carolyn different.
Now he's like, I'm not utilizing all her potential.
Yes, she's a stylish person. She's not just an assistant of the stylist, of like the styler or whatever. She is actually on this. So she has something. So there was a dinner. Things were supposed to be happening. She wasn't able to go. She asked the lady who was above her, like, hey, can I get a ticket? And the lady was like, don't get ahead of yourself. Just because you dress one person doesn't mean that you're going to be blah, blah, blah for whatever. Carolyn ends up having a friend who was there, and her friend does makeup and wardrobes and stuff like that, makeup, hair, and stuff like that for a lot of the models that were going to be at this whatever event it was. I can't remember. I think it might have been about pools or something. I can't remember. But that's when she is introduced to JFK Jr. And
Oh,
from
okay.
there, he locked eyes with her outside. He locked eyes with her inside. They talked for a second, and then from there, he was hooked. But I think he was mainly hooked because she was just like, "Well, it was nice to meet you. I'll see you later." And he was just like,
She was impressed. And he was the golden guy. Like everybody wanted JFK
everybody
Jr. Like
wanted
just seeing him in
JFK.
New York, it was yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like everybody wants the eligible bachelor that's American royalty. And then it's like, but this chick right here doesn't want me? Like, hold on, wait. So that made him want her more. And she was like, no, really, like your life and my life is not gonna mix. And I can't be like in that. She was like, we could definitely be friends. She was like, but I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
I can't be part of your life. She's like, that's a fairy tale. Like, I don't want that fairy tale. So it's just their relationship as it grows and grows and grows and grows, and up to them getting married, up to their demise. But it has some great things in there. They briefly talk about um, the Princess Diana passing away from the paparazzi chasing her in the tunnel
Oh, right.
in Paris, and how freaked out Carolyn Bessette was because she already didn't want all of the publicity and all of the paparazzi following her, which they followed them to like
I can
crazy.
believe it.
Like when I
Because
say
he
like
was
crazy, they
yeah.
show them walking out of the apartment and people like the press is right here. And they're just like, all right, come on, guys. Y'all got to move out the way. Come on, move out the way. And then it was like they were in the car and they were leaning on the car. The paparazzi's leaning on the car, taking pictures. And she's just like, they don't want to leave, John. Like, what are we going to do? And he's just like, yeah, I don't know. But he's thinking, no, it's all going to blow over. It's all going to blow over. No, they are waiting for you to announce that you're having a baby. They want to be the first
Mm.
to get that information so they can put it on the tabloids and put it on the newspapers and blah, 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 blah. And it was just so much on them that was causing them to like pull apart because she always said, I don't want to be in politics. I can't be that political wife. I don't want to
Yeah.
just be like your arm candy. I don't want to do that. I actually want to be with you because I actually care and love you. And she was basically saying, I want my own life and you have your own life. And how we are dating right now, that's how I want it to be. We see each other, we have fun, we do things, we go to dinner, and then we go back to our regular lives. But
I
they
love
did not
that.
get that after marriage. They did not get that. Now she ends up being a prisoner in their apartment, and it's a lot that goes on. So definitely
They
check that out.
really should have, in my opinion, they should have moved out of the country. They should have done with
Um,
Harry and Meghan did.
yeah, but I mean,
Like
even
they
when
should have
Harry and
just
Meghan did it, like, well, the difference is this was like 1997.
yeah. Yeah.
So therefore, there was no social media or anything like that. It was just
It
people
was all for
tipping off
tabloids.
it was all for tabloids. So it was just people tipping off people. So it's like you're having a nice quiet conversation, but it could be that our maid in the Kennedy household is now telling somebody else that told the paparazzi that now they're outside of my dentist appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
following me around.
exactly. The
Yeah,
waiter is telling this, the
yeah,
concierge, the bellhop. Yeah, all these
yeah.
people are just feeding the
Yeah, so I do get what you're
information.
saying, where it's like they should have moved out of the country. Because if you move out of the country, like nobody, I don't think anybody else in the world cared about JFK Jr. besides the United
No,
States, just because he was the golden boy.
besides,
Because his sister did a very good job of keeping herself out of the public's eye and also keeping her kids out. But because I guess because he was living such a normal life, it probably intrigued people. And then he was
yeah,
like
but
also
it's
a
also
texter.
right. But that's what I was going to say. Also, he was very handsome. So that
Mhm.
stood out. I think most people didn't even remember what his sister even looked like. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like you knew her, but you didn't
yeah.
really follow it. And then he wasn't in things, but he kind of was in the New York scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like he had that magazine George that he started. And
Mhm.
so that brings him back into the fold. And,
And
and
that
that was
he
a
talks a lot about
political
that on there
yeah,
too.
magazine. So yes, you are not really you're trying to be normal, but yet wanting to dip your toe into things that aren't normal. And in the
Yeah,
process of that, it makes you makes people want to follow you. But you're right. If they had moved to Jamaica, if they had moved to probably not London, but if they had moved to Spain or Portugal or Greece or whatever, nobody would have followed them. Nobody would have,
really cared. Yeah.
But I do think he was a true New Yorker. So therefore he needed to be in New York. And
but then also he struggled with his own identity and his identity as a Kennedy.
Yeah, I could see that.
So it was like, apparently Ethel ran the family. Ethel was just like, oh, you didn't sign up for breakfast, so you're not eating now. It's like, I got to sign up to eat breakfast? Like, where Kate, like, what are you talking about? She was like, oh, yeah, well, coffee comes for breakfast, and you didn't sign the board for breakfast. And then it's like, what do you mean I didn't sign a board? I'm sleeping at your house. I would figure that once I got up, I could be able to go and make my own coffee. And then it's like, no, this is a whole different life. They don't make coffee. They have somebody else do that. And Ethel kept it as a strict time. No, this is what we're doing. Oh, no, we're going to have a clam bake at this time and a clam this at this time. And then we're also going to have it to where it's free play time, to where you read a book. There's no TV during the day. You sit down and you read a book. You can go out on the beach and read a book. You can look at the newspaper. You can get into current affairs. But you're not just going to enjoy yourself like this is vacation. This is how we do vacation. We don't know what you peasants do as vacation. Oh, yeah. So that is just a lot. Like, God, yeah. I couldn't imagine being in that kind of relationship where it's like, man, you're awesome when you're just with me, but then when you're with your family, you have to put on an act at all times.
Yeah, we have
Why do you go to these things?
Yeah, right. Because it's very scripted and it's very regal. It's very like, oh, this is the elegant way to do things. And this is the cultured way to do things. So she was trying to keep up the historical culture of how you do things. No, this is the tea time. This is the time that you read. This is the time that you might smoke a cigar if you're a man, and the women get together probably then and do their tea and trumpets. And, this is how it goes. Interesting.
Yeah, it's not like it's new times. We don't do that anymore, but I digress.
That also it goes to show that everybody has something, right? So if you're poor and you're struggling and you're trying to figure things out, but you have the freedom to come and go when you want, do what you want, when you want, watch TV if you want, go read if you want, whatever. That's one life, right? Yeah. Then we have like, if you think of the royal family, right? We have money, but we have procedures. And now I have to, even though it's my father, he's also the king. So now I have to bow. I have to do this because procedurally, this is what I have to do. And, I can't go outside. I don't have the freedom. Like, I always wonder, what's Beyonce's life like on a regular day? Like, she cannot go anywhere. She cannot do anything. Does she feel like she's a prisoner in her own home? Or does she feel like, no, I'm totally content. I'm a quiet, shy person. I'm content behind the confines of this home. And it's okay for me if I can't run out to a Walmart and put on a mask or a wig and some glasses and be able to do anything. Like Jay-Z and their daughter is always out at a basketball game, hanging out, doing stuff. But you don't see her unless she is scripted to be seen. And therefore it's like, but is that by choice or is that by security? I don't want to get bum rush trying to be like, somebody trying.
Her mom said that she was always a quiet and independent, stay to herself, and was very much, if it was something that she wanted, that was all her focus. Everything else she didn't care about. Okay. So I'm guessing she's all right. I mean, if she's not, it comes with the life.
I hope so.
She has enough money that she can buy a state. Like an entire state, not an estate, but a state.
She could buy Vermont, Rhode Island, and just live there. And be free.
Live there. Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Pay people to pay people to be at the grocery store. Pay people to be at the Target or the Walmart or the whatever. Yeah, like just go pay people to be in the mall. And when I want to come to the mall, have my couture type clothes in there.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Okay. I didn't even think about that. You're right. So an island. She could buy an island. Anything.
She probably already has.
So okay. They probably already have an island. You're right.
But but the JFK Jr. Carolyn Bessette love story. It's on Hulu. Very good. I definitely think people should check it out. It's you see a lot of things on it, and then it kind of like throws you back and be like, oh, I remember that, and like, oh yeah, I remember something about that. So it definitely does do that. I did see like on the Today Show or Good Morning America, where there were women who were watching it with their daughters. And their daughters were like so enamored with the love story and everything that they were just like, oh my God, like I want to be like a Carolyn Bessette. I want to, I don't know if it's the fantasy of them wanting to date the guy who is the top guy in the city or whatever, who has all the stuff, but loves me so much, will do anything for me, the different things. But the only thing is, it is 1997. So therefore, cigarettes are being smoked every single scene.
Everybody's smoking.
Everybody's smoking. Yeah, everybody's smoking cigarettes. Yeah.
Yeah, because back then you could smoke indoors. You could smoke anywhere.
Yeah,
you could smoke anywhere back then.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember. I recall.
Yeah, I do recall that too. I remember the smoking and the non-smoking areas in restaurants where it's like there's no difference.
Yeah. That's true.
Check it out.
That's true. All righty. There we go. And what was it on again? Hulu, right?
Hulu. Yes.
Okay. Got it. All right. Well, I'm going to stick with Hulu yet again.
Okay.
And I have, is this thing on? Have you seen that? Like a microphone. Doop, doop, doop.
Yeah,
is this thing on?
I don't know if I watched it or if it's part of my list.
Wait. Here we go. Hold on. Is this thing on?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember if I watched it or not, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it has Will Arnett as Alex Novak. It has Laura Dern, as Tess Novak. So they're husband and wife. You have Bradley Cooper in it. He actually, I think, the writer of this and is in it like for little snippets. Okay. His name is Balls. Balls. His name is Balls. Okay. He is with Audra Day as a couple, and her name is Christine. You have Peyton Manning in it, who plays Laird, or Laird, I think is how you say it. Peyton Manning. Yeah, it's kind of hilarious. I'll get to that. And so here's how it goes, right? So you have this couple. They have 2 children, and they are just, as couples do when they have kids, they're kind of, passing ships in the night and all that kind of stuff. So one morning, she's like brushing her teeth. Laura Dern, Tess and Alex is the couple. So Tess is brushing her teeth, and she was like, should we just call it? And he was like, yeah, I think we should. And then it was like, that was the end of their relationship. Like they were getting ready to get a divorce. Like she was like, should we call it? Like, it's like, choo. Yeah. All right, time of death, like let's just call it. Yeah. So therefore, they don't tell the kids yet. They don't tell their friends yet. So they are like separated, and it goes through these motions of like speeding up time a little bit. So like at one moment, he's talking about moving out, and then the next thing you know, they show him and he's already moved out, and the kids are coming to visit with him. And you're like, oh, when did that happen? Like you don't see that time gap happen as much, So anyway, but yeah, so they go out with their friends, they're having a good time, and they are at this point, I think they're together. So the friends thing. So they go. They're having a, so Audra Day's character, she's with Bradley Cooper, and he is very flighty, very like, yeah, man, but yet he's just like a weed head, kind of laid back actor, but doesn't really get much work. And it's just a weird scenario with him, but you can tell he wrote this role for himself so he can have fun. That's basically the way I saw it.
I get that.
So he's a very, he's like the best friend of Alex. So what ends up happening is that Christine, Audra Day's character, invites them all over. It's game night. Everybody's having fun. They're playing games and having a good time. And Laura Dern's character, Tess, goes, "Hey, where are the brownies?" And she was like, "Brownies? I don't know what you're talking about. What brownies?" And she was like, "The brownies that you put the stuff in, like, where are they?" She was like, "I thought I smelled them when I came in." And she was like, "No, there's no brownies." And she was like, "Okay." So then when her and her husband are walking home, so Tess and Alex are walking to the subway, and it's like, "Did you smell brownies when we got there? Because I could have sworn she had." Why would she lie? Why would she say she didn't have brownies when she had brownies? And he was like, "I don't know. They probably feel like, it's something about like something with the fact of like her being so uptight and blah, blah, blah. And maybe they just didn't want to, do anything in front of her. And, once we left, then they probably really cut loose and had a great time and blah, blah, blah." So anyway, they're standing there and they're talking like a couple still, even though they're not. And nobody at that party knew that they weren't. Mm-hmm. So then she says, "Well, that's why I stole this." And she had the brownie. So she found the brownies. Like she said she was going to the bathroom. She was like, "But I went into that kitchen and I looked and I found those brownies lying." So she starts stuffing the brownie into her mouth. No. And it was a big piece of brownie. He was like, "No, don't do that." So then he ends up eating part of it. She was like, she gave him part. So he starts eating it. They go to get on the subway. He remembered that he left something. So he's getting off the subway. And then the train ends up leaving with her on it. And he's like, well, she was like, the door's closed. So he's talking to her through the window, like, "Are you going to be okay? You ate a lot of that brownie." She's like, "I'll be fine. Are you going to be okay?" And he's like, "I'll be fine." Right. So then now he's wandering around New York, right? And you can see all of a sudden it's just like whoosh, it hits him. And he's like, "Oh my God." So he's like wandering, everything. So he goes into this comedy club and they were like, "You have to pay to get in." And he was like, "Oh, I don't have any money. I wasn't even planning on still being in the city." And they were like, "Well, you can't get in unless you're going to be one of the comics that goes up on the stage. It's open mic night." And he was like, "All right, put his name on the list so that he can be a comic to go up on stage." Okay. So then I know, right? It's like, who does that? Random. So anyway, I know. So he goes to the bar, and I think if you're a comic, you can get one free drink. So he gets his free drink, and they're like, "Okay, you go downstairs, you look for the light. They'll tell you when to go up, when the light turns whatever color." So he's like, "All right, fine." So he goes down. They tell him to go up, and he's like, "All right." And he's high, and he's just like, "Okay, let's go." And so he gets up there, and he proceeds to just stand there at first. And then he goes through this conversation that's basically him talking to the audience about him and his wife being separated. Okay. And how nobody really knows and da 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 da. And we have to figure out how to tell the kids and stuff. And occasionally some people chuckled and stuff. And then he was like, "Okay, well, that's my time." And then he got off the stage and everybody's like, "Okay, whatever, So then he realizes that unlocked something for him, because when he got off the stage, people were like, "Hey, was that your first time?" And he was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Yeah, we can tell. Like, come sit over here with us, Mm-hmm. So then it became this community of comics who over time, because he decided he would try it again. And then he decided, like, not high, but just try it again and try it again and try it again. And next thing you know, he's writing and they're giving him advice and how to make your script and like, how do you work it and where you go in the city and the different comedy spots and, all of this kind of stuff. And so he finds a new passion solely from getting a divorce, being high, and missing the train. I mean, okay. Basically what happens. So then you have the scenario of how Peyton Manning comes into it is that, so what you found, I think that this whole storyline goes into is how people, when you become a couple or when you become parents, you put so much focus on the kids that you lose your own passions and your own way of what it is that you could do or want to do for yourself. And so for him, it unlocked the desire for him to want to be a comic. For her, it was kind of like, she was a master, like almost Olympic level volleyball player.
Okay.
And she had a chance to become like, I think like a volleyball coach or something like that. But then she got pregnant and she had the kids and da da da. And she like forgot it. Like, it's never going to happen. So now that she's like going through this divorce, her friends are like, you got to get a hobby. Like, don't just sit around the house, like figure out something. And she was like, well, the only thing I'm passionate about is volleyball. And they were like, well, then go do the coaching stuff. And she's like, no, I can't do that. You know, they were like, well, at least call Laird and find out if there's something that's available. So either she called him or he called her and was like, hey, I heard you might be interested in doing something with coaching volleyball. Let's meet for dinner. So in the process, he and her are meeting for dinner because he's trying to like, and they meet with him thinking that she's still married. She's thinking that he's still married. But then while they're at dinner, they realize, oh, you're not still married. So like Peyton Manning's actually playing a love interest, which is interesting because you're like, okay, are we going to see Peyton Manning make out in this movie?
Yeah. Okay. That's different.
That's different. Yeah. So, but anyway, so they're playing a love interest. And so, but that whole storyline is pretty funny, and interesting as well. And then it's just what happens with these two people. Do they continue on their own completely separate paths of her doing volleyball coaching and him doing comedy and going around the country and doing stuff? Does the fact of them, you know, doing what they love and being, you know, so centered in doing something that they're passionate about, does that passion bring them back together? Like, what's the impact on the children with all of this and them going back and forth from mom to dad and all that kind of stuff? And and the kids, they're two boys who are, they call them Irish twins. Like our niece and nephew. And so therefore they're just like, they're so funny. Like some of the stuff that comes out their mouth, like, Dad, are you depressed? And it's like, why would you ask me about this? And it's like, because we came across all these things and it was stuff that you're talking about that you wrote down. And he was like, get out of grown stuff, blah, blah, blah. These are just jokes. These are jokes that I'm writing. You're like, why are you writing jokes? And it's like, and he hadn't told anybody that he's doing comedy, you know? Okay. So therefore it's like, yeah, nobody knows. And then eventually he starts letting a few people know that he's doing it because he knows that everybody's going to judge. Like, wait,
yeah, everybody's gonna make fun of him or say something. Yeah,
your old comic now. Like, when did you start doing that? And like, so then he's working his full-time job and doing comedy clubs at night and all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, but I really enjoyed it. So it's called "Is This Thing On?" and it's on Hulu. So yeah, there you go. All right. So what do you have?
Okay, what I want to talk about is a movie that I just watched yesterday. Pretty funny. I've heard some mixed things about it. People said it was funny. People said it wasn't funny. But I thought it was hilarious. And I want to talk about Good Fortune. Do you know what that is?
Why do I feel like I've heard that? I haven't watched it.
This is the movie with Keanu Reeves playing an angel yet again, because he's always some kind of angel or something like that.
Okay, I'm looking it up now to see if I've even seen it.
But yeah, so the cast is that we have Seth Rogen, who plays Jeff, Aziz Ansari, who plays Arj, who also is, well, he also wrote this and directed it. Aziz Ansari. We have Keke Palmer, who's a love interest for Arj. Her name is Elena. You have Keanu Reeves, who plays the angel Gabriel. Some other people you really don't need to know about. Sandra Oh. Sandra Oh plays Martha, who ends up being she's the lead of the how do I say this? The lead of the guardian angels, I guess.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm gonna go with. It sounds good. All right, so
okay, sounds good.
Yeah, hilarious movie. So it's about a guy, Arj, right? Arj is on hard times. He is sleeping in his car. He is doing like a TaskRabbit type thing. Also doing like DoorDash and everything. So this is what he's doing. Basically, he's talking to like one of his little cousins. His little cousin is like maybe 10 years old. And he was like, did you go to college? He was like, yes, I went to college. He was like, oh, did you not do good in college? He was like, no, I did do good in college. He was like, oh, so then why don't you have a job or whatever? He was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? He said, an archaeologist. He said, okay, great. So now you're going to go to school and you're going to learn everything about archaeology. And then you're going to come out, you're going to have a whole bunch of student loans you're going to pay for. And there's not going to be an archaeologist job available. So now you're going to have to live out of your car and you're going to have to do Task Rabbit or Task Ninja, whatever they call it. And you're going to have to deliver food on the side in order to pay for yourself to be alive. And the kid's just like, oh my God, like, what is it? What is this? Like, yeah. But with Arj being down on his luck, Gabriel, who is Keanu Reeves' character, he is the guardian angel over texting and driving.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an interesting niche.
And the funny thing is he tells Aziz what he does. He was like, so now I got a budget guardian angel. He was like, my life is horrible. And they give me a budget guardian angel who's just supposed to stop me from wrecking my car while texting and driving.
Texting and driving, right.
But yeah, there's a lot of different guardian angels. And they name them all off. I was looking at them and I was just like, this is hilarious. But the one, because it's like they all get together, all the guardian angels get together on top of a building. Okay. And they talk about everything that they've accomplished throughout the week. So it's like, all right, come on, let me give everybody their kudos. Tell me one thing you did good this week. What did you do this good this week? So there is Azrael, who is the angel of lost souls. And he's giving like this divine speech about like how things are going and how he's changing people's lives. And Gabriel's like, I want to do that. I don't want to just stop people from texting and driving or making people pay attention to like, so they don't get in a car accident. He was like, I have a soul that is lost. Like Arj is lost. Like, and he goes and tells Martha, who's Sandra Oh, and she's like, yeah, no, that's not your job. So if you can go back to the texting and driving, then we'll be good. What does he do? He does not. Now he decides not to help Elena, who is Keke Palmer's character. He doesn't stop her from backing into a pole while texting and driving. So now when she's on the way to have a date with Arj, the texting and driving thing happens. So, and then therefore she has to reschedule. And now Arj is like, all right, that's cool. Cause like, I really didn't know what we were going to do and blah, 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 blah. But it ends up working out. Now, Gabriel ends up telling him, hey, let me show you what he comes to him. Basically, he just shows up. Like Arj gets, everything is taken away from Arj. He's just standing in a parking lot, leaning on a Jersey wall, like just like depressed. And then Gabriel just pops up and he's like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you so close to me, man? Like, get away from me. Like, you just popped up on me. He's like, oh, no, I'm an angel. He was like, you can't tell by my wings. He was like, no, I saw your little tiny wings. Nobody cares about those. Go away. And then that's when he tells him, like, what his job is. He was like, so now I have a budget guardian angel. My life is crap so much that I have a budget guardian angel. This is great. So he's like, don't worry, your life is not that bad. And he does like this Scrooge kind of thing where he puts his hand on him and he's like, let me show you. And then he shows him and it's like, he's like, look, you're going to have a job. And he's like doing deliveries for Amazon. And he's like, man, I don't care about doing deliveries for Amazon. He's like, I'm doing this crap right now. Like, I want to have like good money. He was like, okay, well, let me show you this. And then he shows later on something about his relationship. And then he shows him something later on about like, I don't know, foreclosure on his home or something like that. He was like, and then when he comes back, he was like, and this is what you wanted to show me? You wanted to show me how horrible my life is going to be? Like from now on? He was like, but it gets better. Like, you don't understand. It gets better. He was like, that's not better. That is the same thing. It's just now further along. So he says, well, do you want to see what it would be like if you were in Jeff's place? Now that is Seth Rogen's character. Seth Rogen is a rich guy who basically is like an investment guy. He just puts money into stuff grows, and then he just doesn't do anything. Like his life is literally just letting his money work for him. And he does whatever he wants. So,
Right.
so he's like, well, let me show you. Puts his hand on Arj, and now Arj has woken up, and he is the Jeff character, but he's in his own body. So he said, you have the exact same life as Jeff. He said, but only you are like the Jeff character, but it's still you. And he was like, so I know everything. I can do whatever. He said, okay, cool. And he's like, well, don't you want to see? He's like, but you can't be excited. You don't know how bad Jeff has it. He was like, show me. Takes him. And it's like, oh, you got a meeting at this time. And he was like, okay, all right, cool. So he goes and he was like, we're eating sushi? And he's like talking to this guy, and they're just talking about random stuff. And then they both one time mentioned their companies and was like, all right, this was a great business meeting. Let's put it on the credit card. Boom, we're done. We're good. And he's like enjoying it so much. He's having pool parties. He's doing everything. He's like getting with Elena, the Keke Palmer's character. He's getting with her and dating her, but it ends up falling back on him because it's like, she's like, well, you know, I like the fanciness of all this. This is amazing, but this actually is not me. Like, you want to take care of me, and I want to take care of myself and take care of others. So,
Right.
you know,
This isn't it.
When Gabriel has to go back and tell Martha, hey, I messed this up. And she was like, yeah, I told you, stay with Texas and drive it. But no, you decide you want to save a lost soul. And now you've messed up 2 souls. Because now Jeff is living Arj's life.
Yeah.
So now
how's that going for Jeff?
Oh, so Jeff just didn't pay. So when they switched lives, Jeff didn't have the knowledge that he was that big guy.
He didn't know who he was.
Didn't know who he was. Then Gabriel was like, oh, I can fix this. Puts his hand on Jeff, and Jeff was like, he stole my life. He's going off. He's freaking out. He's ready to fight him. It's like so much going on. It's like, okay, look, the only way we can change this back is if Arj agrees that his life, that he wants to go back. And Seth Rogen's character, Jeff, is like, okay, great, no problem. So now we just got to get him to say that he wants to go back. Arj does not want to go back. He was like, well, there's more. He can't just say that he wants to go back. He actually has to mean it and want to go back. And he's like, so now he doesn't just have to say it. Now he has to mean it. He wants to mean to go back to his Essie little life.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to tell me. He has to
Who would
say
want
that he really wants to go and live in his car or in a motel or have to work all day in order to pay for something. Like he literally was working all day to pay for a motel in order to stay there that night.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So he was just like, he's never going to want to do that. I don't understand. Like, blah, blah, blah. But the movie is cute how it goes back and forth through it. I think it's funny. Gabriel gets his wings taken away from him, and he ends up eating a burger. Loves eating a burger. He ends up eating some chicken nuggies, as he calls them. Loves the chicken nuggies. Then later on, you see him. He was like, what is the purpose of life? He gets his first check. He has to get a job. Gabriel gets his first check. He said, yo, what happened to my check? Where's the rest of my money? And the guy comes over. He's like, oh, yeah, that's the local taxes, the state taxes, the Social Security, the Medicare. He was like, so I worked hard. Yeah. He's like, so I worked hard for this, like this little bit. And he was like, yeah. So now Gabriel's drinking. The angel is drinking. Not only is the angel drinking,
former angel.
Former angel. He still has some powers, but people can see him now. He doesn't have any wings, and he only has some of his powers.
Okay.
So he's still kind of like an angel. He's like a demi-angel, I guess. So he once he realized he has this dishwashing job, he was like, so what do? We do other things too? It's like, no, we just wash dishes all day. He said, oh, okay. And now he's just being the dishwasher. So now Jeff is coming up to him, and Jeff is talking to him, and he's standing out there smoking a cigarette out back of the restaurant. And Jeff is like, look at you. They've ruined you. Look, you're sitting out here smoking cigarettes. He's like, give me this. This is all that I got. And he's smoking a cigarette.
He just wants a cigarette.
The angel that just gives up. Oh, my God. But I think that it's funny because the Keanu character is funny. The Aziz character is funny. Seth Rogen's character is always funny. Keke Palmer's in there is funny. So you have so many different comedic actors working together. that it makes it funny. I mean, some of it is like, okay, that's touching, but then it's like something else happens immediately after that, and then you're cracking up laughing. So I thought that it was really, really good. Now this is on Stars. Like I told you, it's called Good Fortune. I thought it was hilarious. I'm ready to watch it again. The only thing is, I don't have Stars. I actually watched it at Queen's house. So therefore, shout out to Queen. But no, I don't have Stars. But I do want to watch it again. It was hilarious. It was good. It was a cute movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, that is the end of this week's episode of Sestra-Tainment. So we will see you next time, same time, same bat station. I hope everybody has
we're changing our bye. Remember that.
Oh yeah, we're changing our bye. All right, y'all ready? So we will see you next time, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Shout out to Mom. All right.
Yes, that's our mom. That's her saying and how she says goodbye to us.
Yeah.
So, all right, y'all. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.